I'm a music producer, and today I'm reviewing KEHLANI's fourth studio album, Crash. Watch to the end to see the score I give this out of 10. Sorry for the late post, I am insanely ill. I've never listened to KEHLANI before, but since this Friday was fairly slow in terms of new album, no. I thought I'd give it a go. Firstly, I was already impressed that this album wasn't only pop. I mean, yes, there are influences, but there's also a lot of R&B and soul. The first time I listened to this album was after a concert way too early in the morning whilst playing Helix Jumper. And during that time, I loved it. However, upon actually using my auditory cortex, I realized there was more to this record than I once thought. In her defense, a lot of the time it feels like KEHLANI is aiming for the stars on a lot of these tracks. Sometimes, in certain parts of specific songs, she actually achieves this. At other moments, it's as though she shot for those stars, but hit a tree and fell flat on her face. Take Groove Theory, for example. Good title, many switch-ups, and musical development. And yet, it doesn't work in the slightest. There are only a few albums these days that really try and start with the cinematic grand opening. And the reason there are so few is because there are so little artists that think they can pull this off. KEHLANI tried this and ended up with a song that sounded stitched together haphazardly, with no real sense of beginning, climax, or resolution. And yet, songs like After Hours are more simplistic, but work a lot better. In fact, one thing that helps this album is KEHLANI's voice. It's unique and interesting, and of course, she clearly has talent. Furthermore, I'm really happy that she's trying to be a bit more unique with her genres in this current musical landscape, and it works really well for her. Another general positive of this project is the production. It's always very clean and good. It's not mind-blowing or revolutionary, but it does work, which I can promise you is harder than it sounds. So, what doesn't work? Well, some songs are just not good, or at least miss the mark. That is partially due to consistently not great lyricism. Lyrics like I might lose my wife, I might lose my life, I've been wildin' out tonight might make sense if she'd ever actually been married before, but she hasn't, and so this feels nonsensical and trying to sound cleverer than it really is. I'm saying that, but I've never used the word cleverer. So, anyway, details like this just really annoy me because songs like Crash and Tears are actually quite fantastic. So the fact that the lyricism just doesn't live up to the musical vision is disappointing. Indeed, the most exasperating moment of the album is on track 8, Better Not. It's a good song, but the first 4 seconds are fan-fucking-tastic. I was looking quite forward to a nice little acoustic tune, but no. Let's add a kick drum and replace the guitar with a stupid 2-string progression. Fuck you, whoever came up with that stupid fucking idea. The fact that this song manages to still be good despite the major fuck-ups means it could have been masterful. And this is coming from an electronic music producer, y'all. Like, I'm not supposed to like acoustic shit. Anyway, I digress. This album finishes off with some interesting sounds, such as Chapel, which is quite sad and enjoyable. All in all, this album is fairly good throughout, and I've got to give it props for that. Do I think it's worth your time listening to the entire album? No. But you should listen to tracks 3, 5, 8, 9, and 12. However, the entire album is good, but by no means mind-blowing. And for that reason, I'm gonna give this a 7.0 out of 10. Did I have an awful opinion? If so, leave a dislike. Did I have a great opinion? If so, leave a like. YouTube thinks you'll like that shit. Fair enough. Also, subscribe up there because that really helps the algorithm. I love y'all, and I'll see you next week for Lil Yossi.